I think that people are having a harder time finding, like, let's call them more permanent relationships, is because it's become increasingly easy to have fleeting, casual sexual relationships. I mean, Tinder is a revolution, right? It's a revolution in sexual behavior, and it's certainly not obvious that it's
Is it a social thing? Is it just technology? Is this what people want to be doing? Because you think the
it's easier,
fleeting, yeah,
in some ways,
but the technology has enabled this fleeting sexual activity.
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. And that's, but we don't want to underestimate how radical a technology that is. That's
right.
especially for men.
I do feel that deep down that all these people, men and women alike, are always longing for something more meaningful.
Well, I think that that's generally the case. I mean, you know, part of the reason for a relationship is sexual contact, obviously. Well, that's you don't necessarily need a relationship for that. But that's not the reason to be with someone.
Among the ups, the downs, the way ups, and the oh no do we need to break up downs, it's no secret that relationships are tough. But the sweet reward of being loved and getting to love someone in return is what inspires all of us to navigate these choppy waters. Sometimes, though, we need help figuring it out. You are absolutely not going to be gaga over each other every single day for the rest of your lives, and all this happily ever after bullshit is just setting people up for failure. They go into relationships with these unrealistic expectations. Then, the instant they realize they aren't gaga anymore, they think the relationship is broken and over, and they need to get out. No. There will be days, or weeks, or maybe even longer, when you aren't all mushy-gushy in love. You're even going to wake up some morning and think, you're still here. That's normal. And more importantly, sticking it out is totally worth it because in a day, or a week, or maybe even longer, you'll look at that person and a giant wave of love will inundate you, and you'll love them so much you think your heart can't possibly hold it all and is going to burst. Because a love that's alive is also constantly evolving. It expands and contracts and mellows and deepens. It's not going to be the way it used to be, or the way it will be, and it shouldn't be. I think if more couples understood that, they'd be less inclined to panic and rush to break up or divorce.
It's not about the events. It's not about intensity. It's about consistency, right? You go to the dentist twice a year, your teeth will fall out. You have to brush your teeth every day for 2 minutes. What does brushing your teeth twice a day for 2 minutes do? Nothing. Unless you do it every day, twice a day for 2 minutes, right? It's the consistency. She didn't fall in love with you because you remembered her birthday and bought her flowers on Valentine's Day. She fell in love with you because when you woke up in the morning, you said good morning to her before you checked your phone. She fell in love with you because when you went to the fridge to get yourself a drink, you got her one without even asking. She fell in love with you because when you had an amazing day at work and she came home and she had a terrible day at work, you didn't say, yeah, but let me tell you about my day. You sat and listened to her awful day and you didn't say a thing about your amazing day. This is why she fell in love with you. I can't tell you exactly what day, and it was no particular thing you did. It was the accumulation of all of those little things that she woke up one day and as if she pressed a button, she goes, I love him.
A strong and healthy relationship is built on the 3 C's: communication, compromise, and commitment. First comes communication. Think about how to use communication to make your partner feel needed, desired, and appreciated. Communication is verbal and nonverbal, so actions speak volumes. And remember that listening is a major component of healthy communication. It's not always what is said, but how it is said that's important. If a couple communicates with aggression, the silent treatment or abusive language or actions, it signals concerns that might best be addressed by a professional. Then next comes compromise. 2 people in a relationship bring individual experiences, thoughts, behaviors, and personalities to the table. Finding common ground means expressing opinions, understanding and accepting differences, and agreeing on compromise. If both people feel heard and understood, it helps prevent one person from feeling like they're giving in, which can build resentment over time. Last comes commitment. Commitment means putting each other and the relationship first. This requires a lot of giving, and certainly some sacrifice, but the payoff is a relationship that brings true joy and fulfillment to each other's lives. Knowing that each person is committed to working through challenges and growing together builds trust and intimacy and helps release the fears and doubts that hold couples back.
Do you love your wife? Yes. Prove it. Like, what's the metric? Give me the number that helps me know, right? Because when you met her, you didn't love her. Now you love her, right? Tell me the day the love happened. It's an impossible question. But it's not that it doesn't exist, it's that it's much easier to prove over time.
Like people think, well, they lived happily ever after. It's like, that's not what you want in a marriage.
Yeah.
You want someone to contend with, you know, because you learn through that wrestling, you know,
Sure.
like you learn where you're an idiot and where you should stop being, and vice versa. Yeah. So that's the spiritual aspect of marriage. It's the fact that you have to contend with someone under all sorts of circumstances. Theoretically is what would you say? It's a manner of promoting psychological, or you could say spiritual growth, and it's genuine. You know, that's why marriage is a sacrament in most human communities, right? It's stamped both by the state and by the sacred authorities.
The notion that relationships succeed or fail according to how we think about them may seem far-fetched. The science of relationships has tended to emphasize modifying outward behavior, which is why, according to Grayson, most couples therapy doesn't work. It's like trying to clean up a river downstream rather than at its source. He says, settling his rangy, handsome self. Think Mr. Rogers much better dressed, into the nook of a pale leather sofa. We have to go upstream to what we're thinking, to the beliefs and behavior that come from our thoughts, instead of trying to change our emotions, or even worse, other people's behavior. This principle applies to all relationships and not merely to the ones we call special. Specialness makes loving more difficult, Grayson claims, counterintuitive though that may sound. Since casting people in the role of lover, mentor, spouse, or best friend raises expectations, which leads to fantasy, heartbreak, and pain. We suffer at the hands of those we love the most. That's the conundrum. So much expectation, says Grayson, blinds us to love.
That's it. There's sacrifices to be made in the short term. Yeah. You know, and I mean, people have to. The effort issue is like, well, when you're in love with someone, you're going to organize your schedule and make them a priority. And, you know, that's in some ways a fleeting state, although it's not necessarily as fleeting as people think it is, but whatever. It's obviously a priority. And then you get married and, you know, you kind of get accustomed to having each other around, and then everything else is more important and the relationship drifts to the bottom. And then people get dissatisfied and they start looking for excitement and adventure otherwise. Well, you can't do that. You have to prioritize the relationship. Like, my observation clinically has been, for a couple to maintain their relationship without it deteriorating, they have to spend 90 minutes a week together talking about their lives, about how the house is run, about what they've all been doing, to keep their stories caught up, right?
That's not really even that much.
No, it's not. It's not. It's not that much.
Yeah.
But and which is a good thing. You can actually do it.
Relationships need a number of factors to grow and can be quite complicated for many people. As rewarding a relationship is, it can also bring about a number of challenges for couples. But knowing what makes a relationship work or getting the right relationship advice can help you experience the joys of being with someone you can grow old with. Every relationship comes with its own set of challenges and needs constant work from the partners to make the relationship stay afloat. Before you can begin working on your relationship, it is important to analyze what's going wrong, what could be able challenges to affect your relationship, and find out how to fix those issues based on what you've learned. If the challenge is too hard for you to overcome, don't worry. Taking assistance from a relationship therapist or going for an online Save My Marriage course can help you in working in the right direction.